Greetings, America and the world. Everybody got their detective hats on, tea ready to go. We got some good stuff for you tonight. Okay? Um, as always, I am your humble host, attorney Eric Brecky, defense attorney. I have a different approach to this matter than a lot of things I've been seeing online, and I think you're probably going to see it now. Hey, Maria. Hey, Stockstead, how you doing? So people are starting to come in here. This should be good. Might want to get this one around, guys. There's been some heavy developments. And importantly here, we got a special, very extra special guest on tonight. A witness. Man, I've been wanting this for a long time. And a viral witness at that. Dale, you can't jump in already, man. Sorry, there's somebody more important than you coming, man. All right. So our witness is going to be Rene Downs. Perhaps you've heard of her. She's got super viral videos out there. Just hit her name in YouTube or Google. It'll pop up all over the place. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Rolston. How you doing? A lot of fine detectives in, hats on. We're going to get ready to go to work here. Before she comes on, and I told her she doesn't even need to be here till, 5 after or whatever. And there she is. She is in. So, Rene, when I say so, hit that join button or whatever it is, and we'll jump in. But not yet, because I want to say this. There's something that I do for trials, guys, and it's been highly effective. I almost hate to do this because I don't want to give away all my secrets, but it's very, very effective, okay? And I'm serious about this. I want you to grab a scrap piece of paper and a pen right now. I don't care if it's a magazine, the New York Times you use at the bottom of your bird cage, whatever it is, piece of paper, a matchbook, and a pen. Pencil will do just fine, okay? And when you listen to this lady who was there, I wasn't there, you weren't there, and if you were there, I want to hear from you too. When you listen to this lady, now, first, the official narrative, of course, is that there's one single shooter. Stephen Paddock, we got our guy, right? The lone wolf narrative. That's the FBI's official narrative. That's LVMPD's official narrative. That is the mainstream media's official narrative. Game over, right? Case solved, except it's not. So when you listen to this lady, I want you to, one, you're going to assess her credibility, and that is act like you're a juror, okay, guys? Act like you're a juror. And when you assess her credibility, I want you to put a little check mark on your piece of paper every time you feel doubt about the official narrative being single shooter, lone wolf, okay? Seriously. Check mark every time you feel doubt about that when you listen to her and when you listen to my following comments, okay? Rene, whenever you're ready, hit that button. And you're going to pop up to the right here. Make sure your phone is sideways and front-facing camera, because mine is and it won't work right. Here we go. Hopefully, let's see if we can get one in the first try this time. This is awesome. Nice job, Rene. And add. Invite from this direction. Oh, birthday party again, and I hope she brought me a new hockey stick. All right. I don't know if it's ever worked on the first try. Zuckerberg has got to get his act together, but hey, there she is.
I wasn't sure if this was going to work or how it was going to work. I've never done this off my phone. So
well, look at how fantastic it works, huh? It's working great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You're still alive, I see. That's a bonus.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. I'm trying to get my phone to stay up. Okay. I think we got it.
We had like a investigator that was in Vegas on a couple nights ago, and we were having all these connection problems, and it was so bad because like he was saying all this vital stuff. So hopefully yours tightens up here. Well, you look great. It looks like you
oh goodness.
there's survive. I mean, you've been doing like interviews like crazy, haven't you? You're probably so sick of this story.
I've done a couple on the radio, and then with Tracy Beans and with Jake, and that was my last one. And so I've been, I haven't been like going and going and going because, people have seen the YouTube, they've seen the interviews and stuff like that. And so each person, you know, that even as I'm talking to, and even with the messages that are coming in, and even when I received your message, and as we started talking, because I've been trying to respond to everyone, that's been kind of one of my things that, you know, I know if I was on the other end of this and I sent a message, I would like a response. You know, if you can, I know that people get over inundated and stuff, but my biggest thing was to at least try to respond to as many people as I could.
You know, that's fantastic, and I know the world appreciates it because we're getting so little information here. And I know that you're on the same quest as us, simply the truth. And
Right.
I think you're kind of a key gatekeeper here to that, you know. So you're highly relevant, and you know, I'm putting you on the spot here. We're pretending like this is almost a trial. Everybody watching is a jury. I'm sorry to
Okay.
do this to you, but there's a
No,
reason I'm doing it, and it's because I've
sure.
already watched you, and I already know you're going to come off as highly credible. But
Sure.
nonetheless, I'm
Yeah.
going to encourage them to watch you and see if they think you're a crazy person or if what you're
Oh,
about to say is going to be the God's
okay.
honest truth. I already know how it's going to go. I'm that confident. I've already lectured these people that you never put somebody on the stand if you don't know what they're going to say. And so
Right.
I'm very confident the way this is going to go. So one thing you would never actually do in a trial normally is called testify in the narrative. But you've told this story so many times. Can you just sort of testify in
Yeah.
the narrative, the basics of the story first, where you were, what you saw happen, and I might interject if I find it relevant.
Yeah.
Okay? All right.
Yeah. Hi, Pip. Now, I see these people that are actually, some of them are on my Facebook. And so I was like, oh, as they come up, I'm like, I really appreciate that they're watching you. So that's really
Yeah,
cool. Cause I
awesome.
didn't know that we all knew each other. So yeah.
We don't. I don't know who Pip is at all, but I've
No,
opened this
I
thing
just
wide
from
open. Yeah.
following. I mean,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
in Facebook land.
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So my husband and I had actually landed in Vegas on Wednesday, and we were driving into Palm Springs, and we were going to be there for a few days, and then we were driving back. Um, when we were driving back is when we made our hotel reservation at the Bellagio. Um, and we've stayed there numerous times. We used to go to Vegas every couple weeks when my husband was stationed at 29 Palms. We'd go to different spas, we'd use different pools, you know, that kind of thing. And so as I was texting, I saw that one of my girlfriends and her cousin, who were actually at the festival, were there. And I was like, hey, we're heading into Vegas. Do you guys want to meet up? And she said, we're at this festival. And do you guys want to come? And they were back at their hotel at the Luxor taking a shower. And so I said, no, Daniel and I are actually going to go to dinner with his sister and my niece and nephew, his niece and nephew, ours. And I said, but maybe we can meet up afterwards. And she said, well, we're going ziplining about 12:30 a.m. And I was like, well, we're catching a flight the next day, but if you guys want to swing by the Bellagio, you know, we'll give each other a hug. And I've been friends with these people for probably 8, 10 years.
mhm.
So we got to the Bellagio, checked in, went to dinner. We got back to the hotel around 9:30, 9:45. And we went through, you know, the garden thing because, you know, I know if you've been to the Bellagio, you
Yeah.
know how they do all the flower things and stuff. So we
Beautiful
were just kind
place.
of
Yeah.
wasting some time because she said that they would be done right around 10 o'clock. So in the meantime, I went back upstairs and I left my purse in the room, and we were going to go back downstairs. So Daniel says, well, let's go see if our friend is working over at the piano bar because we know a couple of the piano players. And we went there. He wasn't working that night, but my husband started a conversation with the cocktail waitress who'd been there for almost 13 years. And I think they kind of knew that they had seen each other, and really nice girl. And we were sitting there talking. And I said, do you mind if we kind of take the table as far as while we're waiting for our friends? And she's like, no, no, no. So, you know, I got some ice water and we were eating like the peanuts and stuff because at that time I was almost talking myself into going ziplining, and I didn't want to have any alcohol in case that was just not going to be a good move. So, so that's why we got water. And I was thinking, well, maybe if we went ziplining, we could get right back. So I'm texting her, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so she's not texting me back. Well, maybe the concert's just loud. She'll look at her phone, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So 10:30 goes by. We see right around 11 o'clock, I believe the O show is getting out. And so it got a little bit busier up in the lobby. And I'm thinking, this is not like her. She's not a flake like that. It's, I mean, you know what I mean? There's just like
Oh,
those
for
people,
sure.
and then there's,
Oh yeah,
she's not like that.
fully.
So all of a sudden it's about 10 after 11. I said, you know what? Maybe they just got out of there late and they just headed straight downtown. I said, she'll probably call me as they're standing in line or something. And as we're sitting there, the bar filled up. Then all of a sudden we saw towards the doors right there, we saw what looked like a fight was breaking out. There was like kind of like a little crowd, like a circle, and it kept getting bigger and a little bit louder and everything. And we're like, what? Well, then all of a sudden we hear the whap, 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 all the gunfire. And the huge stampede is running through the doors, and just everything's flying and knocking over. And my husband at that point takes me, and down I went underneath the table that I showed in the video. Another lady came jumping over the cement. There's like these cement barrier things, that because the Petrosian Lounge is a little bit raised. And she's screaming, my son, my son. And she was Vietnamese, or so I couldn't really understand her as she was talking, and I just kept saying shh, because we were still listening to gunfire, and if they were coming in, you know, she was very upset, and I just started praying with her, and then she got quiet, and I just started praying, and then Daniel was on top of me. Well, then I felt Daniel get up as it got quiet, and people were kind of starting to raise their head a little bit, and I'm thinking, Daniel, get down, get down. And he was trying to figure out what was going on, where, and who was where, because at that point, the gunfire stopped. And then right then, the security in the maroon jackets came, and they're like, everybody run, everybody get back, go, go, go. So the people that were at the Petrosian Lounge headed into the bar, where other people were, you know, kind of already running into, and that had gotten up. We went through the back quarters, and I lost my husband. And I was like, you know, my husband, where's my husband? And this lady's like, just keep going, keep going. Well, I came to find out that Daniel actually stayed back, and he was making sure that everybody was getting through, knowing where to go. So he caught up with me back in the corridors. This was, it was a different set of elevators. It wasn't the elevators that you took like to the rooms where you had to go into the lobby and then through the casino and everything. This was a different set of elevators. Okay. And people were just packing into them. And there was this little old couple, and I think they kind of got lost in the shuffle, and they were trying to get in, and, you know, it was kind of like, I say, it's like the Titanic, where it's like, you know, no more in the boat type thing. And my husband, he was just remaining so calm, because I was crying and I was upset, and he's like, Rene, here's another elevator, go. So we got the little old couple in with us and a couple more people. We got in that elevator. Now, here's the big thing. I don't know how this happened, but there was a man, because whatever elevator we got into went to the higher up floors. And I guess you needed to swipe your room key.
Okay.
The guy swiped it. He hit a number, and we just went. One couple, well, couples got off at the floor that it initially stopped at. My husband hits another one, which happened to be 32, and then we got off. So my husband told me, stay right there, and there was a plant, and I remember kind of going over and standing by the plant as he went to look down the hallway, because we didn't know if there were other shooters already in the hotel, if you know, what was going on. We just didn't know. And so my husband sees the exit door down at the end of the hallway, and he had already kind of cleared that for me to follow him to go down. And I was holding the door for him, and as he was looking down, he could see that it only went outside. And he was like, well, when we were hearing all the gunfire, we knew that it was outside. So he didn't want us back down on the street randomly, not knowing where we were at the hotel. So at that point, he tried to call down to, because there's phones at the end of the hallway. He tried to call down to the concierge. I was just crying. I was very upset. And of course it was ringing, ringing, ringing. Nobody was answering. I used his cell phone, and I said, I need to make a phone call. I need to call my family. So that is how I know that it was 11:31, because when we got up into the hallway, that was when I made the call. So I left a couple messages. I sent a couple text messages, And Daniel's like, we got to get back over to our room. No matter, we got to try and either get out of here or get back to the room. So we waited a little bit, probably about 10 minutes. And we saw a couple get off the elevator. So we don't know where they had come from. We said, this is running up and down. And they said, yes, we just took this up. So Daniel got in the elevator, got us all the way down. We maneuvered around the back corridors over to our set of elevators where we were, got up to our floor, got down to the room. And immediately when we walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to turn on the TV. I'm sure that this is all going on outside. You know, at least we're going to know because nobody's even answering at the concierge. So we turn it on. At that point, my husband's sister had called and she's in another country. She was already seeing stuff on the news. And she said, oh my gosh, you guys are in Vegas. Are you all right? And we're like, how do you know what this is?
Right.
We've only been going through this about 15 minutes.
Right.
She said, I've been watching it for the last half hour. And she said, over at Mandalay Bay. And I said, or my husband said, Mandalay Bay, we're at the Bellagio. So we turn on the TV, and that's when we start seeing all the stuff that had already been going on at Mandalay Bay. And
every shot of that building. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so immediately, you know, it was like we were kind of entranced and watching it. So my phone kind of started ringing like, okay, where are you guys at? Are you guys all right? And we were telling people we're back in the room. So I went to call 911. This was about 1:36. And I know that because on my phone, I'm 3 hours later. And when I got back, I wanted to see what time I had made that 911 call.
Of course, yeah.
My time says 4:30 out Eastern time. And so it was 1:30. So I call 911 and I said, look, we're at the Bellagio. You know, we were kind of watching the news for them to start reporting, you know, if you're in hotels, stay there. You know, all we knew is we were in our room and we were waiting for the sheriff to come on. They came back on and they were like, there was one shooter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. We heard gunfire.
You mean
like
911 is trying to tell you one shooter already at this point?
911 took, they forwarded my call to the non-emergency line.
Okay. Well, I'm
so
loving where this is
gave,
going. Okay.
I gave the girl my statement and I said, look, we're at the Bellagio. There were shots fired. Now my husband is, you know, extremely detailed. He clicks into things that most of us don't kind of click into. And he was like, it was gunfire. We were about 75 feet from the door, blah, blah, blah. And so he was giving me all the information because I was just crying and shaken up. I was still shaken up. And I didn't know if bombs were going to go off. I didn't know if gunmen were going to be coming down the hall. I didn't know. So I'm giving her this information. I am telling them, tell the police that this is going on down here because they're still reporting it on TV that there's only one shooter. And I'm like, we're at the Bellagio. And this is all happening from what we're seeing now, you know, 45, 50 minutes later.
I hate to interrupt, but very briefly, were you watching local news or like, you know, CNN, that kind of?
Local news and Fox is what we had on.
Okay. All right, so you're looking at it probably disgusted because it's so wrong right off the bat.
Yeah.
And carry on with your narrative. Yeah.
No, you're fine. Okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, Daniel, and he said, okay, change your clothes because I was in heels and jeans and a top. And he said, change your clothes, put on your tennis shoes, put on your gym clothes because if you need to run, I need you prepared. And I'm like, wait a minute, where are you going? And he said, I'm going down to security. And I was like, I'm not staying in here. Because a lot of people have been saying, well, why did you go back down? And well, my husband, who is trained very well, he knew he could handle himself. And he was like, I need to get to security and find out what's going on here. So I was like, no, I'm not staying in the room by myself. I was visibly upset. And he's like, then you stay with me. So Daniel kind of went down the hallway a little bit and then made sure it was okay that I went. He went down a little bit more, made sure it was okay that I went. We got into the hotel or into the elevators. And that's when we went downstairs. So we see all these people with their suitcases. Some of them, you know, were just kind of standing there. We're like, what is going on? Well, that's when we saw the security. And that's when I'm like, wait a minute. So I went to start videoing. I was like, what? I mean, we thought we were going to walk out kind of like, okay, where do we go and what's going on? There was all these people that were just in this, you know, hallway thing of the Bellagio.
Your
So that's
video,
kind of,
that's your viral video begins right at this point, huh? Okay.
yes.
All right.
Yep, that's where the viral video went. And
Okay.
so that's when I started recording, and my husband even went down. It was intentional that we went to go to the outside doors because we wanted to see. It was like, okay, well, are they not even letting people out on the veranda? You know, what's going on here? And then that is when we, of course, you can see in the video, we went down there and we turned around, came back out, and they said, no, you're not allowed to come outside. So we went back down, and that's when I ended up having that conversation with the security guard. And
And
at that point, I said, oh, go ahead.
security guard says what?
The security guard, some people just kind of standing there talking. I went up to the other security guard, and in Vegas, you're kind of just taught you don't have your phone out, not on the casino floor. You just don't do that. And we were just right at the entry to the casino floor at the hallway. And I said, are we going to be able to get through? Because I could see the cleaning crews in back of her. I could see the guy, with his broom, and I could see the big trash can things. And she said, no, not right now. And I said, do you know how long it's going to be? And she said, no. And I said, well, that what is going on? They're not reporting this correctly on the news as far as the gunfire. And she said, yes, I know.
Confirmed.
And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And because I'm like, well, that they're not saying this. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe those higher ups are talking with the police and trying to get all this. So I still didn't think that it was anything bad. I just thought they were, trying to get everything done. But Daniel and I, at that point, we saw the cleaning crews because we knew, like I said, people didn't run around the stanchions. They went over them. Those are the things in the lobby. People were told later on, a friend of mine was told when she called that a stanchion had fallen over in the lobby, and that's what spooked people.
Are we talking broken glass here? It's
broken glass. The
yeah.
big O sign is actually even, it was encased in glass, and that thing was shattered because that was right next to where we were at the lounge. And people's drinks were flying. There were chips everywhere. There were shoes. We saw a couple purses because you could see through them, but I couldn't zoom in. And you have to understand, when I was videoing, I didn't know that I was live. I was just going to kind of like post that video to my Facebook page. I had no idea. And so that was kind of where it ended up as far as the video. And so we went back up. And we have to sit tight. We have friends of ours actually that are from the media that were already calling me from California, and Rene, what's going on? And we've seen you and Daniel and stuff like that. And I'm like, we don't know. We're waiting in here. So Daniel was trying to calm me down, and all I'm thinking is, worst case scenario. Now there's bombs, there's other shooters, and his main concern was calming me down. So that's kind of where we were.
Okay. Fantastic job. Now you're going to have to forgive me here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take an approach. I can already tell the way they would attack you with this story. Okay.
Okay.
And so I'm going to be pretty nice about it, but I can already see where they'd aim for you here. Okay, so they would take an approach that you are a female and you don't really recognize the sound of gunfire. Can you give us some understanding of your knowledge of the sound of gunfire, please?
I have zero knowledge of gunfire. My husband, however, who was in the Marine Corps for just a few days under 23 years, and knows the sound from him being in artillery and MSG and being overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq, and what kind of guns do what and what sounds like what and everything like that. He is extremely familiar, and he doesn't scare easy. So when my own husband, as I'm looking at him, when I'm hearing sounds that I've never heard before, the sounds that you only think you hear in a movie until you actually hear it, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm in this right now. And when my own husband takes me, and I had just actually on August 10th, I had surgery. I had a couple hernias. So I still had stitches. And my husband, the last thing on his mind was, she could pop her stitches, but it didn't matter. His was getting me down. We actually talked about it later. I'm like, God, didn't you even think what would happen if I popped my stitches? And he was like, I knew I could fix those. And, you know, that was the biggest thing. And when you're sitting there and you're hearing that gunfire and all you're thinking in quietness is, what is this going to feel like? Where are they going? I mean, it was like I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I've said it over and over again. It is something that you would never, never, ever want. I wouldn't wish this on anybody to ever feel that kind of feeling. Okay. So, no, have I ever heard it? Absolutely not.
Any of these people, okay, first of all, your husband, so he's heard a lot, and there's no doubt in his mind that what he heard was gunfire and local, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because the next thing they would attack is you're hearing gunfire from the Mandalay Bay, which is 2.1 miles away. Likelihood
and 45
of that?
Minutes early.
Yeah, I had a little connection problem there, so I didn't hear what you said. Can you repeat that?
Oh, the gunfire at Mandalay Bay, all the shots and everything that were fired at Mandalay Bay happened between 10:15 and 10:30. The stuff that was going on where we were was about 11:15 to 11:20, and it doesn't take a bullet. Now, I don't claim to be a genius, but it doesn't
Here
take a bullet.
Here comes the echo theory.
To travel down the street.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, and anybody that wants, you have nothing other than to just try to come up with random stuff. So I'm sorry for any of you. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people trying to, hitch their horse to this echo theory, and I've never in my life screamed echo and gotten echo back 40 minutes later. And
right?
It seems your time is confirmed by your phone call at 11:31. Correct?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, then let me ask you this, just for further confirmation, and I'm already satisfied based on your Marine husband knowing what the heck gunfire sounds like and knowing what close gunfire sounds like. I'm already satisfied. But for any of the doubters out there, was anybody else in this panicked crowd mentioning the word gunfire or guns?
So as we were running, and everybody, like I even said, that little old couple who was kind of like, they were 75, 80 years old, and everybody, they were like, what? So they must have come out from the back way and met up with us as we were all running, and everybody was yelling, gunfire, guns, there's a shooter. So it was not just us that thought, this was a massive chaos that was going on. There was not one doubt in anybody's mind is exactly what was happening. Now,
okay. Many people in the crowd, the word gunfire. Corroboration of your assessment of gunfire, your husband's assessment of gunfire, everybody in the Bellagio thinks it's gunfire, right?
100%.
Okay. So the next question is going to be, I know there's fear to come out on this. We got, sadly, witnesses dying at the age of 28, etc. Some people have been very brave, like yourself, but some people have gone underground. I believe you've had some that have sort of come to you, correct me if I'm wrong, to confirm this corroboration of your story. Yes?
100%.
Have any of them gone public from the Bellagio yet that you know of?
There was a guy that I guess he and his wife were sitting in front of us. I don't know who they are. He had responded on one, and it was sent to me by someone that I didn't even know, saying, Rene, this guy and his wife were right in front of you. And somebody had tried to say, they don't know, she doesn't know, pretty much, this didn't happen, the one shooter theory. And this guy flat out said, we were there. We were the couple that was sitting at the table right in front of him, and everything that she's saying is the truth. And I've had so many messages that have been private message to me, and and they're telling me it's our livelihood. It we have kids. You think of Vegas, and especially with people that don't know. And I said, well, look, even to do this so that the investigators can have information as far as our timelines for what we were witnessing, to help them, not to go against them, but to help them to find out what was going on where, to know when to pull what videos from what hotels. You know, obviously you guys have all heard by now the police scanner things. I mean, right there it tells a story, but then it stops every time the police get to a hotel and the security says no gunfire. So it's kind of like, well, all right, so where the security is, unless they are underground in a bunker somewhere long before we knew it, we all heard gunfire, and there was many hotels that did. And I know that there's some other people from other hotels that did reach out to me, and they actually have told their own stories. And, you know, I've just been begging for people to come out and say, I thought, like I said, I thought that there was going to be thousands more videos just like mine out there. I cannot believe that this is the one. And I'm not saying anything to hurt anybody or anything. I'm trying to help the police, the other investigators, whoever it needs, to say, look, at this time where we were, this is what we heard. And then the next day,
are they basically ignoring you, or what's going on with that?
Well, that's what I didn't understand, honestly, because when we went to check out and the lady came up and I said, look, we spent like 2.5 hours in our room. Are you guys going to be discounting anything? You know, we weren't in the room. And she was like, you know what? I wasn't here last night. Hold on a second. So she goes back and gets the manager, and the manager comes out and she said, can I help you? And I said, yeah, you know, we checked in, we weren't really in the room. And then because of all the gunfire and stuff last night and us being in the corridors, and she said, looks right at me and says, there was no gunfire at the Bellagio Hotel last night.
Wow.
And my husband, who I will tell you, you know, you can pull a lot of stuff, but the last thing that anybody really would want that he would ever think of is that you're a liar. And he gave me kind of a look, and I said, you know what, ma'am, hold on a second. So I grabbed my phone and I said, here, I have, we were all in the room. I said, let me show you. And she goes, hold on one moment. She walks back, she comes back up, the other girl comes up, she slides it across, and she said, here you go, you guys go have a nice day.
You know, there's nothing that Vegas likes more than money. When they give up money, something's up. Wouldn't you agree?
And I didn't gamble. We didn't gamble. It's not like I was a big winner and they were comping my stay. I mean, we didn't gamble. We weren't there. We went to dinner with his sister and brother-in-law, and niece and nephew. Sorry, not brother-in-law, his sister, niece and nephew. And I mean, we weren't even in, you know, downtown Vegas. We were out, you know, by the dam. So it was like we weren't even there. And so but I couldn't believe that. At that point, it was like, so when she said there was no gunfire, I'm like, what? I'm like, well, maybe, you know, they don't want everybody to get into ruckus. I'm like, but I'm sitting here saying, look, I know there was. I can show you where we were all blocked off, and the security says this, and she didn't even need to hear it. She just comped the stay, and off we went.
You know of any others that they comped, or wouldn't she know that?
I don't. I have not heard. In fact, other people have said, gosh, you know, the people that have messaged me, they're like, you know, I didn't even think about that. And I was just thinking, I didn't even think that they were going to comp it. I thought, you know, they were going to say, well, you know, here's, you know, something towards an extra stay and stuff like that. I love the Bellagio. It's one of my favorite hotels. I mean, all of them. I've stayed at all of them up and down the Strip. Like I said, we used to go every 2 weeks, and, you know, I had friends of mine that went to UNLV. I mean, I even living in California, I felt like I was sometimes in Vegas more than I was in California.
They want me to ask how many shots you think you heard. Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. We're thinking about
Okay.
15 to 25, because my husband described it also to me as far as how you hear a gunshot. And I never knew this. When you hear a gunshot, you immediately like hear the echo of the gunshot. And I didn't understand that. And so it was because I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's just like, you know, me, I don't know. I'm like, was it 100? And he was like, actually, it was about 15 to 25 gunshots, because in my head, you know, all I'm hearing is whap, 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 whap. And I've described it, and it's the best way that I can put it is if you take a 2x4 and drop it on the ground, and that is the smashing sound.
Can I just interject for a second, because a thought just came into my mind. So you heard what might have been 15 to 20 gunshots. What? Okay,
15,
so
25. Yeah.
okay, yeah, and you thought it was 100 because it was so chaotic. What do you think
Yeah.
200 on a 32nd floor would have sounded like? Maybe a
Oh,
thousand?
dear Lord.
You think
You
somebody
know,
would have
I
called
had,
911 if they heard that? Yeah.
oh, my friend, her cousin got shot. And when the saddest part about it, I remember, was when I saw her post the next day and they couldn't get back into their hotel. And after she had been to the hospital and been treated, and thank God her bullet wound went through. I believe it didn't hit any muscle and it didn't hit any bone. So she was extremely lucky. And, but they were released and they couldn't get back into their hotel. And I saw this post and
Hold
I
on.
called.
This is important, okay? We got to put
Yeah.
something to rest here. So you personally know this person that was shot?
I know her cousin who she was with.
Okay.
I've
And
met her before, but
yeah.
the girl and I are good friends, and it is her cousin.
Okay, let's just put this to rest then, and you can be my witness to do that. Of course, by now you've heard theories about crisis actors, etc.
Oh, yeah,
You know somebody shot. These are credible people in your mind.
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
They were at my wedding. They were
Okay.
at. I mean, these people were at my wedding. I mean,
Okay.
this is no joke, and they're extremely professional people in their lives. They actually have real jobs that they go to and do real things.
Okay.
So no, they're not crisis actors. And
Well, this is one of those things that I have to ask because that would be one of the attack strategies the other side would use. See,
Yeah.
if this were a real trial. So
Yeah.
I think that's very helpful to know. Thanks. Yep. So then we've dismissed the echo theory. Echoes don't take 40, 45 minutes
Nope.
to make it 2 miles. Let me pardon this question in advance, but I can see another way they try to attack it. Rene, are you a crazy person?
No.
Okay. Are you in full
I'm
control
crazy
of your
about my
faculties?
dog.
Well, that's pretty crazy, but that's a good crazy. Are you in full control of your faculties? You understand what's
100%.
going on in the world around you? How is your
Well, let
hearing?
me tell you.
Yeah.
My hearing is fine. As I
Okay.
say, my hearing is fine. My eyes are good.
Okay. Wow.
You know, I nursed my father back from cancer, and I took care of my mother for 12 years of, you know, when she was ill, and so I would like to say I'm pretty smart. So yeah.
I would agree. I would agree, and also very brave. So I certainly appreciate it. I know everybody else. You're a truth seeker. You're a truth warrior. That's fantastic. You have any
Well, I
vested
didn't even
interest
mean
in
it
this?
to be.
Yeah.
I didn't mean this to be like, that's the whole thing. It's just like, there's so many people, and I'm just like, people just come out and let the authorities know this information that you have, because then they're not just like, oh, it's a random person here or a random person here. Tell these people so that they can get the timelines down, other than just the 911 calls coming in or what they were calling diversions or stuff like that. It's like, the more that people actually tell them, then they're going to be able to say, okay, you know what, there's actually stuff that we really need to see. I mean, they've got to be looking at all these videos from the hotel. They can't not be.
How many surveillance videos from the hotels have you seen so far?
Well, I haven't seen any.
Ah, weird. Anybody out there seen any? Throw a couple of hearts up if you've seen any. How many cameras did you see in the Bellagio alone?
In the Bellagio, there's thousands of, in any casino, I would imagine. That I've never been to one of those floors where they have all the cameras, but I would assume that they have just thousands of everything
Rene,
there.
Let me tell you something right now. When you're a lawyer, sometimes you have to ask the most stupid sounding questions because the jury doesn't know anything about the case. You have to pretend. Yeah.
The fact that I even just saw something that just said something about fireworks, and 4th of July happens to be one of my favorite holidays. I definitely know the difference between fireworks and what I heard, because what I heard, I had never heard before. I know what fireworks sound like. I know what fireworks sound like from afar. What I heard was not a firework. It sounds totally different than fireworks, and especially when it's coming closer to you.
Wow. You're a very perceptive person. How many years have you been on this planet? We also have to ask very blunt questions that are considered.
How old am I? Is that what you're saying? I'm 46 years old.
46 years old. You've had 46 years to learn the sound of a firework. That's amazing. All right. Another approach, and about the only thing I can think of, another angle they take is you have some vested interest or something to gain from this. You got a book
Nope.
deal coming? A movie?
Nope.
Anything?
Nope.
You making
Nothing.
any loot off of this?
Not a dime.
Wow, you don't say. Okay.
Not a dime. You know what I've actually gotten? I've gotten to know the understanding of PTS as far as how that is, because I don't know that I ever had a real understanding except from friends of mine that have had it. Now I can tell you what it feels like to wake up in the middle of the night and be ill and run to the bathroom to throw up because your stomach is so tight. I can tell you what it's like to see things in your dreams that make you wake up and shake your husband awake just so that it's like, just please wake up, just wake up for a second. And thank God for him, because he is so calm, so level, and so, I mean, he is right there. And if it wasn't, I mean, I try and stay at the gym longer to refocus. That's how I do things. My husband, my dog, the gym, and the hardest part for me is going to sleep at nighttime.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's got to be tough. So it seems like you're holding up well under these circumstances. That's impressive.
So
Let's see here. Oh, I'm sure I'm going to miss something that I'll think of later, so why didn't I ask her that? But that's okay. We got the good stuff here. Let's just say this. Now that we know what we know, okay, so allegedly, Stephen Paddock, the lone wolf. You with me here, or are you frozen up? Can you hear me? Oh, I think we're getting zucked again. Can you hear me? Either that or she's deep in thought, like a statue right now. Are you with me, Rene? Can anybody see her? Am I frozen? Is she frozen? What's going on here? Did we lose you, Rene? Wait for her to come back. Oh no, did we lose it? Rene, somehow we lost you. If you want to jump back on, of course I would take you immediately. If you want to hit that button again. I don't know if we're getting zucked or something. But guys, what did I tell you about credibility? How many years have you been on the planet, okay? Do you have the ability to assess credibility? Do you have the ability to tell when somebody's lying and when they're not? Do you? Now look, here's somebody that fessed up to even a flaw of her argument, which would be, I really don't know gun sounds that much. A liar would say, yeah, I know gun sounds, when they don't. So she fesses up and only gives testimony that's accurate and only things that she actually knows, okay? That is the sign of a truth teller. Furthermore, now this is important. You'll hear people tell you that eyewitnesses are notoriously inaccurate, notoriously flawed, etc. Not when corroborated by others. And she's already said, many people have talked to her about this. Some of them afraid to come out publicly, but some of them doing it to her privately. Nonetheless, the crowd all talking about what? Gunfire. Gunfire. That's the consistent theme throughout, okay? I can see how people would be scared with witnesses dying to come out, etc., like Rene has done. But you, take a look now. Let's remember, let's review the facts. So Stephen Paddock is allegedly dead sometime just, I don't know, what is it, 11:05, 11:06 that they say our lone wolf, Stephen Paddock, kills himself. Think about how many questions there are in that alone. We haven't seen any surveillance footage. We haven't seen any muzzle flash from the building. All the things covered in the previous 6 shows. Nonetheless, the official narrative says he kills himself, puts a bullet, eats a bullet at 11:06. She's sitting there, they're thereabouts, okay? She's sitting there making phone calls at 11:31. Stephen Paddock, our lone wolf, is dead. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, here comes Rene again. Awesome. And here we go. Invite out. While that's going out here, guys.
I don't know what happened.
We're just getting zucked. They don't want it. I mean, we're just getting censored. They don't want this out there. We're both gonna die in our sleep tonight. I hate to tell you.
Don't say that. Don't put that out there. My girlfriend Yvonne would say, don't put that out in there in the universe.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? I feel safer actually doing it because I've made so many of these live videos now that I think a few people would be like, wait a minute, that guy wasn't going to put 2 bullets in the back of his head.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
no, no. No, I felt bad too because I was like, oh my gosh, it froze, and I was like, and it even froze at a bad pose, but it's like, oh well. So yeah.
Isn't that the way it goes? Yeah. So anyway, I was wrapping it up anyway. So let's put the timeline of what we've learned now together. So what time are they saying, according to the official narrative, that this lone wolf, Stephen Paddock, puts a bullet in his head? Is it around
I'm
11:06 or something?
Oh, I don't know what time. I didn't pay attention to what time he died. I paid attention to what time the shootings had
Okay.
stopped. That I heard had stopped at Mandalay was around 10:30. I don't know what
Okay. Okay.
time
Okay.
that
Okay.
that
Even better.
guy did what he did.
Okay. Even better, because actually, very relevant. Thanks for reminding me here, because we don't know what time he died because the autopsy hasn't been released, okay? He might have been dead for days or hours before the shooting started. So let's go with what time the shooting stops. 10:30-ish? Okay.
At
So that's
Mandalay,
even,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, and you're looking at your phone at 11:31. You've been making these phone calls. So that's an hour later. Renee Downs, can I ask you a question? Do
Yes.
dead men have the ability to walk 2.2 miles and shoot 15 to 20 rounds outside of another hotel?
Well, I know that I was 1.5 miles down at the Bellagio, and I don't know where they went from there, but I can tell you no dead men can walk as far as I see it, no matter how far they are
Okay,
trying to
so
go.
I got the 2.2 wrong. We'll go with the 1.15
It's
miles.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that there was a couple more between Caesars and Paris and stuff like that because I've been hearing a lot of the 2 miles, 2 miles, 2 miles. So you're not the only one, but
Mm,
I just know because as far as where we were and when we went to leave in the morning, and I had a friend of mine that was doing a broadcast from the MGM where she was from LA, and we were trying to get to her, but we had to leave, and so I knew how many miles she was because I thought, well, if I can run down there, then Daniel can come and pick me up. But I knew that's the only reason how I knew.
Do you have anything you want to add before I ask a final question of you?
No, I really, really, really hope that there's just other people that have this information that give it to the cops, whether they want to go, public or not. I have a lot of friends of mine that are police officers all over the country, and it's so important that they have all the information for people when they start talking about, well, the timeline is changing. Well, of course it's changing because they don't have all the information. Everyone around can help get them the information. So it's like
Renee,
if
I
yeah,
appreciate that. You're very kind, okay? You're
yeah.
very kind. Uh, I, in the defense attorney role, am not as kind. Unfortunately, I also have cop friends. Some of them are probably watching now, and they've actually been getting kind of mad at me because they think I'm going after like rank and file. No, I'm not. I respect regular cops. I respect even the lower level people in the FBI. This goes to the top. But I do not respect, and I'm not even going to bluff here, I do not respect Lombardo. I call him Fife, and I'm not taking it back, okay?
Oh,
This has been either utter incompetence or an utter cover up, okay?
yeah.
Have they been helpful to you?
No.
Okay, interesting. Because we know that cops are kind and generally want to help, right? But for some reason, in this case, that has not happened. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's sad really is what it is, especially when, I mean, have we ever heard anything else about that lady, that was just posted as far as like the lady running through the crowd that they were all going to die. I mean, my
Right.
friends were there and
Mm,
and then they knew people that were there and then others. So it's just kind of, I mean, people got hurt. And it's absolute disrespect for
yes.
people to say that stuff happened and with actors. And I know that all that stuff goes on and everything like that. You hear about that. That is the craziness. The fact that those people are doing that kind of thing to try to create that kind of
Right.
chaos and stuff like that. That is the craziness.
Right.
The craziness is not in the truth. And
Yeah.
that's what I don't understand. It's kind of like, don't try to squash. I don't care, as far as what is happening with Campos and where he's going and who he's doing. There's people that got hurt. They can find that stuff out. They're the ones that have to pay attention to details on that. My big thing with the only reason why I did this was for people's safety. If you were still out on the strip and if you happen to see my video, which I even thought was just on my own Facebook page, but get safe, get somewhere inside until they tell you to come
Right.
out. I didn't know they weren't going to tell us to go get safe.
Yeah, I'm glad you're sort of like staying in your lane here, and you don't care about the whole Campos timeline. But I do. You can stick
Oh,
around for
no,
this
I
next part
know.
if you want.
Oh, I think it's
I'm nailing
pathetic.
that guy
Don't
to
get
the
me
cross
wrong.
in 2 minutes.
No,
Okay? Yeah.
no, don't get me wrong. I don't, it's not that I don't care about that. I don't think his stuff has anything to do with
Right.
what was going on with me. Do
Right.
I think it's relevant? Oh, 100%. Do I
Right.
think that what we saw and what we are hearing is truth? Absolutely not.
Hmm.
And I mean, you know that being on, being an attorney, that somebody doesn't witness something and then decide to take a trip to the Bahamas and then come
Right.
back. Well, I guess
Right.
the Bahamas would still be considered it would, well, to another country.
Right.
And just to kind of, I'll come back when you need me to testify. You
Mhm.
don't get to do that.
That's not gonna. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I'm gonna get into that in a bit. You're welcome to stick around if you want. But I have to say, unfortunately, from my perception, my perspective, I have definitely witnessed plenty of officers obsessed with staying on a narrative. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it straight up: lie on the stand, perjury. Okay, I've caught them. I've caught them, and they hate me for it. Okay, there's a town
Yeah.
20 miles south I can't even go to. I'll get pulled over every time. So, like, I don't just give this immediate credibility. I call it magic polyester. Okay, uh, an officer's uniform isn't magic truth-telling polyester. Okay, and so that's Lombardo, and he looks like a deer in headlights. It's the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. But he took an oath to the Constitution, to uphold the Constitution, to the people of at least Las Vegas and these
Yeah.
victims and the visitors of
Yep.
Las Vegas. And so I
Yep.
am not accepting this. Well, it takes a little time to put it together. You got more surveillance cameras than anywhere in the world. This would be one of the easiest cases to put together, despite so many injuries, despite so many deaths, to at least pin down a solo person and then calm down the public. If you don't like conspiracy theories, how about you show us 30 seconds of surveillance footage with him like alone with bags? This is
Yeah.
not art. Instead, you know what they're doing? They're ignoring you, they're ignoring me, they're ignoring everybody, America. They're ignoring the victims, and that's the most important thing. No more press conferences, nothing. Shut down the news, MSM. They're not talking about it at all. This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
No.
So it's
I think
either they're
Tucker's
competent
coming
or a cover up.
close.
Yeah. What's that?
I think Tucker is trying to
Yeah,
come close. I do
I
think
liked
that
it.
he's starting. I think the way he's doing it, and I will tell you that we have really good friends there, and I think the way he's starting it is genius. As far as starting with the Campos thing and then moving bigger and bigger and bigger. I take my hat off to him. The fact
Yeah.
that he's even starting to poke, because I always say don't poke the bear. And I think he's starting to poke, and I give him a ton of credit for even starting that.
I do too. I was really happy to see that because obviously everybody else, including Hannity and stuff,
Yeah.
just
Yep.
completely
Oh
gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, way to go, Tucker, because they don't want to be
I
caught
love
up.
Tucker.
Yeah, like Fox News is the new Alex Jones. Fox News is the new InfoWars. Nobody wants to be caught up in that. And you know what I say? Here's my line again. Every single case I've ever brought to trial, okay, there's a theory. The government has a theory of the case, and it's not going to trial if we don't have another theory of the case. Otherwise, it plea bargains, it settles, right?
Right.
Like something like 6% of cases go to trial. But the reason for it is because there's two different theories. That doesn't mean that my theory is a conspiracy theory every time. I'm analyzing the evidence different. That's the way our system works. And their evidence isn't adding up. 200 shots into the hotel hallway. And it's with no photographs, that would be Swiss cheese. Other people would be dead. There would be like hundreds of 911 calls out of there. Nothing adds up. Nothing adds up. So if anything's the conspiracy theory, I'm ready to go on record at this point and say the official narrative is the conspiracy theory. It's that bad.
Yeah, that's what's
It's
and
that
that's
bad.
the sad part, because people families were absolutely destroyed.
Uh-oh.
That now is the one time when the conspiracy actually, it's just, it's so off, just so off.
It is so far off. It's incredible. It's like,
Am I frozen again?
you know when like I'm sorry, what?
No, I didn't know if I was frozen again. Go ahead. I'm trying to move you.
Oh, okay. Do think of the person that you know that's like the biggest liar. Everybody knows one, right? And it's like everything that comes out of their mouth is like heinous,
You don't want me to name
Picture
names? No,
that
I'm just
person
kidding.
now. No. Should I? There's a lot of people out there that
Yeah.
say no on that one. But it's like my mentor taught me this great line. He says, whatever you do in front of a judge, it's like credibility. It takes a lifetime to build, but a moment to shatter. And it's
That's
totally
it.
true. And so
Yep.
what is the FBI doing here? What is Lombardo doing here? What is the media doing here? Getting caught in lie after lie after lie. They have no credibility. And do they have desire to have any credibility going forward into the future here? If they don't, continue to be silent. Continue to let these questions go unanswered. Continue to produce no evidence and a dead man that doesn't speak. This is like a
Yeah.
bad movie or, or,
Yeah.
or a John Grisham novel. You want to get into the
Yeah.
Campos stuff, or do you want to go? You did a
No,
fantastic
I
job. You want
can.
to you
I
want to
mean,
stick around with me?
sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this won't be long, but I know these guys want to hear it because they know I've been on to what I call Jesus Campos version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, and soon we'll have
Oh, Lord.
6.0, which is likely to be played by Robert De Niro. You talking to me? That's my theory. They're going to put a few pounds on De Niro and go with that for
I love De
Campos.
Niro, but now I hear he's like really
Ah,
going off the deep end on
oh
stuff. So
yeah,
I'm like, well,
he's
yeah,
way off the deep end, but good actor.
yeah,
He'd do better than that guy they
yeah,
threw on Ellen. Okay,
yeah.
so the newest info, and so Tucker breaks this, so thanks for bringing up Tucker, is that, wow, Jesus Campos, our hero security guard, took a little trip to Mexico. And in fact, the stamp shows he returns to the USA somehow on October 8th. When did he leave? We don't know. But remember, this guy was shot in the leg by a
Yeah.
high caliber round that travels
Yeah.
at 3,000 feet per second. And
Yes.
did he drive to Mexico? Did he fly? Did he ever go to the hospital? How do you make this trip with a blown out leg? No explanation. And why didn't they tell us this? How does a key witness, the last person, then really maybe the only witness, at least inside, how does he leave the country? How
Yep.
did they even allow that to happen? And why wouldn't they reveal that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We've never
Yeah.
heard anything more about this alleged person on the floor. Or, I mean, this woman that supposedly comes out and he
Yeah.
saves her life so they can hang on to the hero claim. Now, check it out. Now, do you
And
guys know what this means? I'm not talking to you, Rene. I think you put this together. Do you guys know what this means? Here's what it means. Jesus Campos was never shot. That's what it
because that's
means.
not Jesus Campos.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Yeah. I mean, it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. The guy
No,
we're looking at now.
that's what
Yeah.
sounds actually, that doesn't sound crazy. That sounds like, no, this is the truth. Will the real Jesus, hey, Campos, please stand up? It's like, really? You
Yeah.
know?
Right. You
Just,
don't travel
it's
to,
pathetic.
yeah, you don't travel to Mexico being shot in the leg
No,
and then come back and then barely have your
nope,
routine together for Ellen.
nope,
Um,
no.
and then we got a missing hard drive. Why didn't we hear about that? What that? What are we at here? 26 days. 26 days, and we find out on day 25 that his hard drive is missing.
Yeah.
This paddock. They just finally opened this thing up. They should have been looking through it all along. Or did a dead man remove the hard drive, shoot himself, and then where'd the hard drive go? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't add up, and they're not fielding any of that either. So yeah, for some reason, they're using actors to play this guy Jesus Campos. Will the real Jesus Campos please stand up? Instead of this guy that gains and loses 50 pounds every few days, takes trips
Yeah,
to
that
Mexico.
I'd never seen that. I wish even if I knew his diet, I'd be like, can you do that in reverse?
Wouldn't that be
Okay.
fantastic? Yeah, I
Who
want the
knew? Who knew
Jesus
you could do?
Campos.
I don't know. I don't.
Good stuff. We've missed a lot of questions scrolling by here. If you saw any that you wanted
Go
to
ahead.
field, go for it. They've gone right by. I can't find them now, so I just have to apologize to these people. But if you saw any you liked
I can
and you
I
want
can
to hit,
tell you I can tell you Yvonne is all over this thing. If she's definitely one. I think she's even the way that she can put stuff together. Boy, mine doesn't really get to think like that. She has an incredible mind.
Way to go.
So
way to go,
yeah,
Yvonne. You know what I love? I love it. We live in a day and age where I've been saying for, a couple years now that we had to take up the role of citizen journalists because the media is not going to do it. But now we also have to take up the role of citizen detective because I'm sorry, our FBI is fully corrupt, okay? And this Lombardo is either weak or corrupt himself and a total puppet. So that makes you, Yvonne, and everybody else out there, unfortunately, unwittingly, detectives now. But you know what's good? Here's the good part. We're doing a better job than them. I don't know what Lombardo gets paid. I don't know what that Rouse guy gets paid, but it should be zero. And we should all be taking their salaries and dividing it up. Wouldn't you agree? Because we're getting close and they're getting nowhere.
I just hope, my prayer is that even if we're not seeing it or we're not knowing it, that there's stuff that's going on, is that I can't put my mind into the fact that they're not doing it and that they're not working on it, just because of the friends that I have that I do know that are genuinely good and wouldn't be one of those people that would be up on the stand and lie to you, that would put themselves in jeopardy before they would put anybody else. Those are the people that are cop friends of mine that I have. And so I'm just really, really hoping that between all the agencies and the other police officers involved, that those are the ones that are still working on it. I have to have that hope and prayer that those are the ones that are on it. I have to. Otherwise, that's how I'm going to sleep at night.
Right. And I have to say the same, partly because some of them are watching right now.
Yeah.
There's definitely good cops out there, and we want them to break rank.
Yeah.
Okay, break rank. And do what's right. Do what's right for the American people. Do what's right for those victims in Vegas. Do what's right for the Constitution, etc. But they must be under tremendous pressure,
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't even imagine who they have to answer to, and even answering for false questions, for made up questions. How do you answer truth to a lie that you already know?
Right.
You know what I mean? Is a lie. How do you try to give a truthful answer to that and then say, oh, but now we're going to put you on national TV in order to talk about it? You can't do that.
Here's the problem, though, Rene. You're exactly right. But if they don't start answering some questions soon, it's going to be the people with pitchforks and torches, Yeah. Yep. Because the people are just, I've had it for a long time. And people, look at the internet. It's something like 85% of the people in this country don't believe the official narrative.
No.
Probably higher for the locals in Vegas. And they want answers, and they deserve answers. They're about to lose it here, and I don't blame anybody for doing so.
I would really, my biggest thing is I would really like to know what all these securities from all the hotels, because of the fact that he wasn't even registered in the state of Nevada as a security guard and everything, but yet the cops are having to go to security first at all these hotels for the security to say no shots fired. But yet Jesus Campos is a security guard that isn't registered, but this is what they have to take in when they say, oh no, the security over at such and such hotel said no shots fired. My friends that were over at the Paris, I call them friends. I don't know them personally, but I know them now.
Right.
But the people that I know that were over at the Paris, they literally had a shooter going through the hotel and everything. And that female police officer that was outside said that he was already going in. It says it right on the scanner. But yet you go to the security that Jesus Campos is still a part of at Mandalay Bay, and I'm surprised they're even acknowledging that, because Jesus Campos was security. So I'm really curious what the security at the hotels had to do or say to the police officers that were actually trying to do their jobs.
Yeah, who's running the show here? When did security guards at casinos outrank everybody? But you know what? We're running low on time here. Thank you for showing up. So here's that final question. I hope you unfreeze here. Okay. You're welcome, everybody. Thanks for showing up. So I don't know if you saw the very beginning, but I had said to them that a little trick I like to do in trials, when they could, sometimes in some jurisdictions they can take notes. I happen to be in one that they can. So they have little notebooks there. And I tell them to literally put a little check every time they feel doubt. Okay. Obviously, what I'm aiming for here is reasonable doubt at the end. And then I ask them at the end, how many check marks do you have? And then I want you to ask yourself for each check mark you have, are you an unreasonable person? Or when you felt doubt, are you a reasonable person that has 30 check marks there? So, Rene, I'm going to ask you this. Knowing what we know now, the shooting stops around 10:30 at Mandalay Bay. You and all these people witness the shooting at 11:15 or whatever, 45 minutes later, 1.5 miles away at a different hotel.
Yep.
With this information, and let's go with the fact that they say Stephen Paddock is dead, which they do go with. What is the, give me a percentage now here, what is the likelihood in terms of percentage that there is one shooter?
Me, what I 0%, absolute zero. Goose eggs, dear, goose eggs, 0%.
Zero, unless we live in a world where physics cease to apply anymore, and we just break the time continuum. Then it's zero. It's impossible. Yeah. So now I'm going to turn to these people here, and I'm going to ask. Okay, I almost got zucked right there in the conclusion. I want everybody to look down on your piece of paper. How many check marks do you have? And then ask yourself, are you an unreasonable person? You've heard her testimony. Is she a credible person? And ask yourself on the question of, do I have doubt about the official narrative of there being a single shooter, a lone wolf? How many check marks do you have? No one's going to be able to answer this straight up, but the answer is going to be every single one of them has 20 or 30 check marks there, thanks to your testimony, Rene Downs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. This was nice. I hope I was able to answer questions. And, you know, like I said, people can think what they want. I'm not telling them what to think or not. All my video was done because all I know is if your kids were there and they might happen to know somebody that knew somebody that saw my Facebook page that they were supposed to go and get safe. That was all that it was about. This, I can't. I hope that there's thousands more that come out on top of it, and my name just goes into the clutter of it, because that would mean at least that people are giving the opportunity to like help and
that's
say
why,
and do.
And that's why I know you don't even want to hear this, but that's why in my mind you're kind of a hero here, because you've gotten that ball rolling. Tucker's talking about it. Soon others are going to start coming out, and that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Well, my
you don't have to accept it.
Yeah. And thank you, and God bless everybody.
Okay, guys. Hey, everybody, thanks for showing up. Look at those check marks and remember that, and get the word out, get the truth out. Your truth warriors. As the sun sets slowly in the west, we bid you all a fond farewell. Peace out, everybody. Thanks, Rene. Bye.